Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the season premiere of Juice's Jabs. Now, I know it's been a few weeks, month-ish, 2 months since I made the last one. In reality, I had to make you guys wait a little bit. You can't throw everything you got out there at the beginning. You gotta make them wait. So, now we are there. We are finally at week 1 of the 2015 regular season. What does that mean? Means it's week 1 for fantasy football. We got off to a big start on Thursday night with Gronkowski playing catch with Tom Brady. Devin on the board already with 32 points from his tight end. Looks like he could be the highest scoring team of the week. Now, in our first return episode of the Jabs, the most obvious thing to start off with is going to be a draft review. Now, I think this year's draft was very successful. I thought we all had a great time. We all were there for a long time, and I think overall everyone came out with pretty good drafts, with the exception of Kyle. So, yeah. Okay, moving on. It's time for everyone's favorite part of the show, my jabs for the week. I start this season with the first person I started with last time. My first jab goes to Bryan. Bryan, much like your previous jab, I'm still going to label you as desperate. Now, you exited the draft with arguably one of the best teams, yet you were the very first person to try to aggressively trade with every person you could find. Now, you already ruined the keeper league. You already trade raped 2 people. One of them had to get the trade reversed to make it fair. So I gotta ask myself, what are you afraid of? I mean, it's obvious that you have a very strong team. It's obvious that you're gonna do big things this season, but you seem like you're scared. You seem like you're afraid that you don't have enough pieces. Trust me, you do. You've got a solid team that can compete with anybody, but you're gonna fuck up. And you're going to end up trading away your best players, and then your favorite quote so far is that I feel that if my main player goes down, I'm still going to be okay. You're not going to be saying that when you start losing people, when you start losing Shady, when you start losing Murray, when all these guys start going down, because yeah, you may have some great star power, but you have some very injury-prone players. And I think that's going to be a disadvantage for you. My second jab of the week goes to Jordan. Jordan, undoubtedly, you are dangerous. You exited the draft with quite possibly the strongest draft. I say so. Thomas said so. But my opinion doesn't matter, according to Bryan, until I win a game. My opinion doesn't matter. So even if you're watching this, I appreciate it because really, my opinion doesn't matter. But you, my friend, are dangerous. You are someone who could run away with this league very, very fast and be hoisting that title above your head. My third and final jab for week 1 goes to Josh Durham. Josh, you were very quiet prior to the draft. As a matter of fact, there was many pre-draft conversations where people pretty much ruled you out, and they figured that you were going to mess up and take Peyton Manning as your first pick. What happened was you kind of hid in the weeds. And now all of a sudden you've pranced out and you're pretty ferocious. You've already been a beneficiary of a giant event in the NFL. Jordy Nelson goes down. You drafted Devontae Adams. Now all of a sudden you're looking like you got the flavor of the year on your team. You look like you've already had the big move that takes you from being to holy shit, this guy's going to compete. I tell you what, you want to talk about dark horses? My dark horse is Josh Durham to go and win this whole thing. Now, a new segment I'd like to add since we are in the regular season is the matchups of the week. What I think everybody should be paying attention to this week as far as great matchups. The first one I'm going to get to is Dylan and Bryan. You could feel the tension between you two on Thursday. Every time Tom Brady threw a touchdown pass, Bryan wanted to throw Dylan on the ground and put him in the Ronda Rousey armbar, but he didn't, thankfully. I think this is a matchup to watch because, like I said, Bryan has a strong team, and Dylan always has a strong team. Dylan's one of the best drafters that we have, and it'll be really great to see if Bryan is able to man up and take down Dylan. I think whoever wins this matchup ends up in the final two of the league this year, and my money's on Dylan. So the second matchup to watch, and I'm sure everybody in the league will agree with me, the number one matchup of this week is Tom and Jordan. That matchup has fireworks written all over it, and the best part about it is neither one of them had anybody play on Thursday. So we all have to wait with anticipation until Sunday when we're all sitting there starting to watch the games, and we get to watch Tom and Jordan both cringe or cheer as their players start to score points. Tom and Jordan are probably the two strongest teams we have in the entire league, and these two going at it twice a season is good for all of us, because that means if one of the people controls both matchups, that's 2 losses on them, and that makes our chances of getting the playoffs that much better. So that's a good matchup to watch. Honestly, my money's on Tom to win this one. I think they split the series 1-1. I think Tom wins this one, and as we get closer to the playoffs, Jordan wins the second matchup. So that brings us to my matchup this week. My week 1 opponent. Somewhere down in western Kentucky, there's a college that currently houses my opponent, Chris. Chris, what you don't realize is starting early last season, there was a move that was made that drastically changed you and I's fate. What many people don't remember is there was a trade that was on the table. I was going to trade my quarterback at the time, Peyton Manning, for his quarterback at the time, Andrew Luck. Here we are a year later, and we've swapped. He now has Peyton, and I have Mr. Luck. Chris, every move that I made on draft day was calculated. Where I sat was the most calculated move, because I wanted to sit across from you, and I wanted to stare you down as I took some people that you wanted. Hell, I even warned you 2 rounds before I took Oskowski that I was going to take him. And then what happened? You got up, and you said, "Oh, I'm leaving," and you turned the corner, and then you came back. You probably should have kept walking, because from that point forward, your draft was shit. Let's be honest. So now we get to week 1, and my chance to start proving relevance in this league starts with week 1. I took a bold move on Thursday, starting Marcus Wheaton, and it didn't quite play out that well for me. So currently on the board, you're up about 13 points, give or take. But that doesn't scare me, that doesn't frighten me. As a matter of fact, we are just getting started. Because on Sunday, what you're going to see is my number is going to start to raise. And my lead is going to happen, and it is going to continue to grow until finally you realize Monday night, when everything is all said and done, that you are my first victim this year. The funny thing is, I've been the butt of most jokes leading up to this. As a matter of fact, I've been labeled as the taco buy of the league, but that is no longer the case. I took this year very, very serious, and I put a lot of effort into everything that I'm doing, and that's why I'm saying the things that I'm saying and talking the way that I'm talking, because until my confidence is rattled, I'm going to talk like I'm the champ. So, Chris, you and I are going to have a great matchup. I think we're going to, I think starting off early on Sunday, it's going to be a little close for a while. But I truly believe that you will be my first victory. Honestly, I think it's justice that you would be my first victory. Because our fates could have been drastically altered last year if said trade would have gone through. But I digress. So, my final prediction for the week is that I win by 23 points. And, Chris, as much as I would like to say that I respect you, I totally do not. So, yeah. So, that is it for the jabs this week. Next week, my opponent is one of my very good friends, Tizzy McBiscuits. Tom, next week, I have to tell you, I know that taking on the champ is a big challenge. And that's why I had to go out and I had to get a real American friend to be on my show next week. So next week, when you see the jabs, it's going to be a whole other ball game, brother.